Hello and welcome to another daily devotion. As this week we talk and celebrate towards the end of the month, but Black History Month. And so we thought we'd close this month out by talking about some of the maybe lesser known, uh, really champions and leaders of African American faith. And so Mary McLeod Bethune was a daughter of a slave. She grew up in slavery as a child. In fact, she recalls that at the age of 9, she could pick 250 pounds of cotton. Cotton doesn't weigh a lot. 250, that's a lot of cotton in a morning. In a day. She could pick 250 at age 9. I think about my girls, like being out in the fields, slave labor, growing up, and that is your life. And you're not second-class citizens. You're not citizens. You are property. So this is the world that Bethune grew up in, and she started going to a school for as the slaves were freed. She started going in the turn of the century, late 90s, early 1900s, 1890s rather, not 1990s, and going to a school that educated her, and she became an educator. Then she started her own boarding school for girls in Florida, and it became Bethune Cook College. She got her teaching education at Dwight Moody. You'll be familiar with that, Moody Bible Institute here in Chicago. That's where she went. But sadly, in the 1910s and 1920s, no church denomination at the time was willing, and I don't know if she must not have looked at the Congregationalists, because we had an African-American minister since the 1780s, but no church was willing to sponsor her as a missionary wherever she had been looking. And so she went down to Florida. She started her own boarding school, and it became Bethune-Cookman College in 1829. But one of the things that strikes me about Mary Bethune that was so powerful, here's a woman who is told she's less than. There's so many things that a person of color at that time in the 1920s could not do. You can't, go to parks for white folks. You can't eat in restaurants with white folks. You can go out in the back alley. You can't go in, use water fountains or swimming pools or any of those kinds of things, all very much separated and segregated. And here is the theology that Bethune would teach all of these young girls that she was trying to, in turn, plant the seeds for them to be teachers themselves. She said, any idea that keeps anybody out is too small for this age. You must open out your heart and let everybody in, because that's the kind of God we serve. Wow. I'm going to read it one more time. Any idea that keeps anybody out is too small for this age. You must open your heart and let everybody in, because that is the God we serve. Wow. I don't think that work is ever achieved. We've never fully arrived, right? And as an open and affirming church, I tell our members and new visitors, people who are interested in joining the church, it's always asking yourself the question, who is it that if you're sitting at the communion table, breaking bread with Jesus, and somebody else sat down across from you, who would it be that you would struggle to sit down at a meal with Jesus with? You say, well, there's nobody. Well, come on, let's be honest. Let's be truthful. Whether it's somebody who's been in prison, somebody that's confessed to pedophilia, or whatever it may be, a neighbor that's cheated you or lied, a racist bigot that you don't like, somebody in the Ku Klux Klan, a skinhead, I don't know, somebody has different political affiliation, whatever it may be, somebody you just don't like, right? Somebody's fake, whatever. And how do we, as people of faith, if Jesus says this is the body broken for you to that person, says you are my beloved child, And Jesus loves things about them that we've never seen, we've been blind to. How would we work at loving that person like Jesus does? And I think Mary McLeod Bethune embodied that kind of inclusiveness, whereas even from a little girl, she was told she didn't belong, which is all the more amazing to me that somebody who's been told time and time again, you can't play here, you can't eat here, you can't play with my daughter. Why? Well, because you're black. And instead of turning that into hatred and animosity or revenge or bitterness, she said, no, no, we have to imagine a bigger world, a godlike world where everybody is sister and brother to each other. A beautiful gift that she gave to the world and humanity that far too few people have heard about. So Mary Bethune, look her up. Learn something new, I hope, every day. And I hope the tent under which we can all gather just got a little bit bigger.